All right, thank you so much, Chris. That was some really good information. I have some more information that you might need to know. I got an email from the Louis Armstrong International Airport. They say that they are monitoring weather conditions and preparing for potential impacts from Hurricane Francine. So far, 130 cancellations, and they say that you need to check with your airline to find out if your flight has been canceled. In order to minimize delays in processing through the check-in counters, passengers who need to reschedule flights should work with their airlines to rebook before coming to the airport. So just keeping that in mind about your flights out tomorrow. Then we got a lot of other questions that good friend Alexa is in the building for. Some folks up in Ponchatoula in the Hammond area, one in particular has to go to work tomorrow.
Okay.
So they're concerned.
No.
They want to know, what can they expect as far as winds, wind speeds, or tornadoes?
Okay, so yeah, we've been talking about the worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario.
Wind speeds.
Yeah.
What time are they going to work tomorrow?
So that's what I asked.
Yeah.
I did ask him. He said he was going to work at 8 a.m.
Okay.
And so before 8 a.m. was an issue, but things are changing quickly.
Yes, yeah, so going to work at 8 a.m. and on the North Shore, not so bad. It'll be fine. I think tomorrow morning, you got to go to work tomorrow morning or do any last minute preps tomorrow morning. The morning hours are good, but as we get into the afternoon, the later afternoon, evening hours, winds gusting up to maybe 70 miles per hour at the worst possible end of the scale here. Planning for that worst case scenario, 70 mile per hour gusts for the Ponchatoula area. So that's what we have tomorrow for the late afternoon, evening. And then when it comes to the tornado threat, it is very isolated. And the thing is, like Chris Franklin was mentioning, any tornadoes that do come on shore, they move by pretty quickly. They're very short-lived, they're weak, and it's almost like, what's the difference between the damage from a tornado and the destructive winds that we are expecting to see? So no matter what, if we get an isolated tornado, it will be quick, it will be short-lived. It's really the winds that we have to watch for tomorrow during that late afternoon and evening time frame that will probably be more impactful than any short-lived weak tornadoes that come on shore.
It's all mixed up in there
together.
Yeah,
right,
okay.
Exactly.
All right, another question is it also possible, because we've been talking about the upper level trough, okay, is it possible that the wind shear could minimize the threat of tornadoes by reducing spin in the atmosphere within those bands of rain? These people are really paying attention to your forecast, okay?
I know, we always talk about shear, like two different sides of the spectrum. Like shear is good when it comes to hurricanes. Shear is like the enemy of a hurricane, but shear is useful for tornadoes. So shear makes tornadoes happen. Shear helps rip apart hurricanes. So it's like confusing. Yeah, so
this
shear,
is no good.
Shear is a good thing for us when it comes to hurricanes, but shear is a bad thing when it comes to tornadoes. But even so, like we've been mentioning, it's kind of self-contained when you talk about tropical tornadoes. You have these rain bands coming onshore, and as that's kind of twisting onshore, the rain bands, those outer bands, they encounter more friction when they move on land. So the storm kind of slows down closer to the surface, but the winds in the higher levels of the atmosphere are still going pretty strong. So that's how you get those quick spin up tornadoes. So it's kind of a self-contained thing. If anything, the stronger shear may help make more tornadoes happen. So, but like we said, we may get a couple tornado warnings pop up, but they will be weak, they will be short-lived, and really, what's the difference between the strong winds from a tornado and the strong winds from a landfalling
Alexa,
hurricane?
you know your stuff, honey. I love this. Okay, and the last question, somebody from Chalmette says, because we've been talking about it being a Category 1 when it hits land, what is the chances that it could turn into a 2?
Luckily, back to the shear thing, to the shear. The shear in the dry air is helping to keep the intensity down. So that helps keep the intensity down for the hurricane's strength. So far it looks like it will maintain itself as a Category 1 storm at landfall tomorrow sometime in the late afternoon and evening hours. A strong Category 1 at 90 miles per hour for those sustained winds at landfall, but it looks like it should stay a Category 1 strength, but a strong Category 1. But we have those factors that we're saying a prayer for. We're happy to see the dry air and the shear helping to keep the really high intensity down.
Word of the day, upper level trough.
Yeah.
We want that. All right. Thank you so much, Alexa. If you have any questions that you want answered, you can text that number on your screen, 504-529-4444. I will try to get those answers for you. I'll send it back over to Katie and Devin.